What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. And Madden 22 reveal trailer has dropped. Generally, the response has been pretty good. If you can see, like, there's little snapshots and stuff like that of what is coming to franchise in particular. They're going over some of the other features. But I actually have more information to pass on to you guys for right now. And obviously, it's going to be better once, like, the deep dive and the blog and all that stuff drops. And we can start to see more of what actually is in franchise mode, but I did get to see a little bit more, and I'm going to tell you about that today because I'm allowed to. And there's two big features that I want to talk about that you guys are probably, by the time you start, watching this and looking for more information around Madden 22, probably started to hear about. But within franchise mode and just general gameplay, right? Madden. There was some sort of analytic breakdown that like 80% of the Madden 21 games were played between user versus CPU, which definitely skews towards franchise mode as being the most played mode. It's like an indirect way of saying that, essentially. So the priority for Madden 22 clearly was for these guys here to work and give some goddamn attention to franchise mode. And there's two things I will want to talk about the most, and that is scouting, and that is staff management. We've seen a lot of rumors for staff management. There was a Sean Grady video. He's like the producer or something like that for Madden. And in the background on his monitor, like would it be right there, had a screen of the staff management where you can see the head coach, offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, and something called player personnel, which essentially acts as like the general manager. So I'm going to talk about that. Outside of that, there's big features. They're adding M factors so that home field stadiums are going to give you different boosts. One of the big ones is like in Seattle, you're going to get the scrambled play art like in NCAA 14, which is pretty cool. So I feel like that's kind of niche. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where could get old quick, but I do feel like trying to add in some form of a home field advantage for user versus CPU. Cool. I mean, add more challenge. I think that's ultimately been the issue with Madden is like, I want the game to be harder from a realistic standpoint, not from a cheesy standpoint. I don't want it to be harder from the standpoint of every 50-50 ball, regardless of the overall of the DB. He's going to make a diving backflip interception on me. I don't want that. But making it harder for me to just operate my offense because I'm on the road in Seattle, that's going to be pretty cool. There's also big tie-ins, and I always thought this was going to kind of be more of a gimmick, but big tie-ins from next-gen stats towards getting all of these AI teams to play somewhat similar to what they do in real life. So when you actually play Baltimore, they're going to run it every single time for Lamar Jackson. And when you play the Buffalo Bills, they're not going to run the ball very much. You're going to get a whole lot of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and every other team in between. And I'm really interested to see how that feels because ultimately, above all features, I think the biggest thing for franchise mode, for user versus CPU, was the fact that all the teams kind of called the same game plan, operated the same offense and defense. Especially if you start to go up to all Madden, pretty much every offense was throw it as fast as we can to the tight end or running back. So that's good, but I want to talk about the features here that I think there should be some more elaboration on. And we'll start with coaching staffs. Here's what I know about coaching staff so far is that the mystery for me is that I don't know if you'll be able to do a coaching carousel. I don't know if you're going to be able to start as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator and work your way up to that head coaching position like NCAA 14. I'm kind of going to throw around a dirty Madden trope here. Is that I'm going to say staff management is a building block feature. It's a feature they put in this year. There's a lot of depth to it, but ultimately it's a step, like next year they'll be able to build on that. Madden 23, I could be looking at a coaching carousel being the big feature to franchise mode. But I have reached out to the reps and see if they can confirm or deny if you can start as an OC or a DC. But as it stands right now, I think it's just going to be staff management, not going to be able to start as a coordinator. But coaching staffs are made up of the head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and player personnel. So kind of think of like general manager, if you will, because I believe the two aspects they can work on in player personnel is like contracts and trades, I think. But each coach has an RPG-esque talent tree, like the NCAA 14 style, where you can spend staff points that you earn throughout the year from game day challenges, just playing games, like just the standard, think of Madden 21 XP, that will now earn in new stat points that you can use to upgrade all the various skill tree upgrades you can do for your coach staff and build your dream coaching staff. Because they kind of made it like, I don't know if anyone plays Borderlands. I'm not a huge Borderlands fan, but in Borderlands, you have massive skill trees, and you can't just buy everything. You have to essentially make builds, right? Yeah, like if you're, I can't remember. I was this chick that it was in like a machine. She was in, I can't remember her name, but either way, you can be like, I want to make a fire build. I want my chick to have all the fire moves. But if you do that, you're not going to get like, the water moves. And that's kind of what it looks like the talent tree is going to be in Madden. You're going to have to make decisions because a tree, right? You start at the top. And then it starts to branch down and it goes down like this. And at that fork in the road, you got to decide what side of the skill tree you want to go on for the head coach, OC, DC. Because what I have seen from some of our presentation stuff is that once you decide to go down on that fork of the road on one side, you have to commit to that side. Like if I start upgrade, like say this is a wide receiver skill tree. We're starting right here. Man, I wish I could just have assets. And then your wide receiver, if you go this way, it's the technical side. This way here gives you route running, and it gives you catching traffic. But if you go this way, it's the athletic side of the skill tree. I want my coach to make my guy more agility, faster speed, more acceleration. I can't do speed and acceleration and then go back to route running. You have to make a commitment, and I kind of like that you have to make a choice. Now this could change, but as far as I know right now, you have to make a commitment in your coaching tree. It's good, man. I like the fact that you have to make that commitment. And if you mess up, and you have to restart again. It's like someone that goes to college for an art degree, right? You go 4 years of your life for the art degree, you get out, you find you can't get a job. What do? You can't you gotta go back, you gotta restart, you gotta rethink it, you gotta retool, you gotta replan. I think that's kind of the approach here for the staff management, at least as far as the talent tree is concerned. Looking at your head coach, in his tree in particular, player growth and staff modifications are two of the big trees, and you have to make decisions, so that's important. And for offensive coordinator, I was looking at some of the different abilities that I could see during the presentation, and there's injury prevention, there's like a film study, different attribute views for sure, and what we do know, though, is that for this skill tree, I'm going to be honest, and if there's anyone from BA watching this, my apologies. I thought for sure once we saw that staff management leak, it was going to be incredibly half-assed. It was going to be not really a lot of depth after a year or two. What's the point of it? But we know that there's going to be more than 60 available upgrades to work through across all of those different skill trees from head coach, OC, DC, and player personnel. And they're going to be adding more post-launch. Yes! Give me more stuff to do within franchise mode. Give me more ways to customize the team and make it play the way I want it to play. The second thing I want to talk about is scouting. There is going to be a scouting overhaul. It is not going to be at launch. Scouting will not be available at launch. It will be coming in a September update, which, on one hand, it's a little annoying. I would like everything to be available at launch, but September's not that long. I think the biggest thing for this big scouting update, which I'll talk about again, man, I wish I had some backing documents I could show you guys, but eventually you will see it. I think the most important thing with the scouting update coming in September is that it applies to existing franchise modes. No one's going to want to start the franchise whenever this game comes out August 17th. That's the earliest you're going to be able to get it. And then have to find out that in literally a month from that date, you're going to have to restart your franchise modes if you want this brand new scouting feature, which you're absolutely going to want. So I feel like that's going to be important. But if we have anything to go off of from Madden 21, as they were doing the franchise updates throughout Madden 21, all of those things were working with existing franchise modes. So I kind of feel like that's the standard now for franchise mode in Madden. So that's good. But what you need to know about scouting, there's a 5-person scouting team that can cover up to 5 regions. So you have a scout that's your national scout, and then you have 4 area scouts. And you can also cover the national area, west, central, northeast, and southeast. So kind of think of it like conferences like the SEC and the Pac-12 and everything like that in between. Scouts have tiers, and the higher tier your scout is, the higher efficiency boost you get while scouting. So tier 1 is the lowest. I don't know how high it goes. The highest that I saw was tier 3. It could go up to 5, could go up to 10. I don't know, but the boost would be like if you're a tier 1 scout, you have a 5% efficiency boost to scouting players. If you had a tier 3, you had a 15% efficiency boost to scouting players. I think scouts also have positional expertise. So when I hire a scout, you can make a decision. Do you want a scout that's really good at scouting quarterbacks and edge rushers, or do you want a scout that's really good at scouting offensive tackles and defensive tackles? You want to work on the trenches. You're going to be able to have that opportunity to personalize your scouting staff from at least, because obviously you're going to be able to get all the positions, but what do you want your scout staff to be specialized in? Maybe the positions that you're not particularly good at scouting, or positions that you have trouble kind of, judging based off combine stats, if they're going to be good or not. those are where you're going to want to pump your budget into getting scouts with positional expertise on ones that you don't feel comfortable drafting more often than not. Like I know for me, corners and tight ends. Let's go. There's also going to be regions, and in these regions, so we talked about more so west, central, northeast, and southeast, they're going to give you strengths and weaknesses of that position, the groups from those regions, right? So you're going to figure out, the southeast is really good for quarterbacks and corners this year, but not so great at linebackers. And you desperately need a linebacker, so you're not going to send a whole lot of scouts to the SEC because on the West Coast, they got a whole lot of linebacking talent. They have a whole lot of linebackers. That front seven improvements, you're going to want to go all the way out there to the West Coast. So the fact that right out the bat, every single season is going to generate what area has the strongest position groups. That's just more information and realistic information. Like, that's how real teams will have their scouts. They're like, man, SEC's looking like doo-doo this year for wide receivers. We got to be going out on the West Coast, or we got to be scouting the Northeast, or something like that. So I definitely think that this scouting update is going to be huge. It's very much a welcome addition to franchise mode. And the last thing that I can talk about for scouting is that there's going to be a mock draft feature. It's going to kind of be like a hub that will, it makes sense, right? During the draft process, mock drafts are massive right now. So it visually looks pretty cool. I'm going to kind of relate it to when Madden and Madden 21 added that playoff bracket, where you could see everything kind of go for the playoff bracket. Kind of think about that for scouting. And what it is, it gives you, like, you'd have an entire first-round mock draft. But what is kind of cool is that throughout the season, as you scout, as you get more information for these players, that mock draft will continually update. And the better players and the busts and stuff like that, they will fluctuate up and down on these mock drafts just to give you more information to think about throughout that regular season while you are handling your scouting. So that is all the information I really kind of wanted to share with you guys today on Reveal Day. I was surprised that they went with the trailer that they did because we got a little more information on the back end, but it's probably only a matter of time until that stuff drops, and I think you guys are absolutely gonna love it. What I can say is that I am very excited for Madden 22, and I'm gonna go so hard. I'm gonna make this promise to myself that Madden 20. I'm not gonna accept any other option other than I'm going to kill Madden 22 this year in a positive way. Like I'm all in, man. I'm all in. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. More Madden content, Madden 22 content, first look content. Who knows? All that stuff will be coming here. Oh, and I will say this: since C4's started getting Madden hats sent in the mail, franchise mode looks a little better. Huh? Is that a coincidence or what? See you guys on the next one. Peace out.